Okay, 3 days ago, the EFCC made an arrest of former MDs of NNPC, and a discovery was made. 80 billion naira was found in one of the MD's accounts, and although no names or specification was given to whose account the 80 billion belongs to. So I decided to do a shallow dive into the systematic and the pathological failure of the NNPC over the years, finally the rehabilitation of the 3 refineries we have in Nigeria. Because last year, President Tinubu approved $3 billion for the revamping of these refineries, but as it stands now, none of them is working in its full capacity. In short, I don't even think any of them is working. So I decided to know what is really happening about this, and why that every tenure or every administration have failed in the process of finally the functionality of this refineries. Then I began to just do basic dedicate 72 hours to do basic analysis on what might be the problem. So let me give you some facts about the refinery. Now, these 3 refineries in Nigeria, these 3 major refineries in Nigeria produce an average of 445 barrels of oil, can refine 445,000 barrels of oil per day. Port Harcourt refinery happens to be the biggest, with approximately 160,000 barrels of oil a day. And also, for the time being, from 1999 to 2025, total amount of money spent for rehabilitation and maintenance, running maintenance cost, and of these 3 refineries is going to an estimated figure of $30 billion over 25 years. Nigeria have spent $30 billion for revamping these 3 refineries. Now, also, I want to give you facts that the Dangote refinery, which began construction in 2016, took approximately $9 billion and have a daily capacity of 650,000 barrels of oil a day. Dangote refinery can refine 650,000 barrels of crude oil a day, which is way above the capacity of the 3 refineries if they are put together. And remember now that for 25 years we've spent $30 billion for revamping, rehabilitation of these refineries. Now, if we just do small mathematics, if $9 billion was used to build a refinery that has a capacity of 650,000 barrels of oil a day, it means the $30 billion used for revamping of these 3 failed refineries can give us 3 refineries, the size and capacity of Dangote refinery, and can also do what? Generate not just generate. Before I talk about the profit aspect, can refine a total of 1,950,000 barrels of oil a day, which, if you check from the production line, Nigeria produces approximately that range 1.8 million barrels a day. So why is this refinery not working? Who are the benefactors? Who are those making profit? What is the really problem in the oil sector that for 25 years nobody don't find solution to the refineries? And you know that Dangote refinery estimated profit annually is $21 billion. That means if the $30 billion that was used for the total revamping of this 3 refinery is pushed to construction of refinery of Dangote size, will give us 21. If each is giving or generating $21 billion annually, it means the 3 will generate $63 billion annually, which roughly will fall around 100 plus trillion naira, which is way above our annual budget for 2025. So it means, if to say we get 3 functional refinery at the size of Dangote refinery is $9 billion for construction. Dangote invested $3 billion $3 billion, and every other investor generated $6 billion. So only that one don't already solve our problem for Nigeria. Now, who are this thing benefit? Who they benefit from this oil? Because I come to realize that these individuals or these MDs that happens to be arrested by EFCC, you know, will get away out. Let me give you probably a predictable outcome of these MDs that got arrested. One, they have been arrested. No names have been mentioned. Names have been given as the MDs of pathological refinery, Warri and Kaduna that were arrested. One of them had an account that have 80 billion. One of them MDs. One of the MD's accounts, not all of his accounts, one of the MD's account owed 80 billion naira. One of the MD's account. The worst thing will happen, which happens to be the pathological nature of the Nigeria judiciary system, is they go charge him to court. He go get bail. Maybe they'll come collect like 10 billion naira from their hand. They'll leave the man go. And the man go, they happy. He go say, yes, my enemies were at me. My enemies came for me. These MDs, this will be the outcome of these MDs. My enemies were at work, and thank God. And these MDs go church because they get pastors. These MDs are Christians. They go church, or they belong to a religious circle. Let me just say they are Christians. I don't know their religious affiliation. But they will go to the religious circle and target that the problem they had was a result of their enemies, not as a result of their failure. And these pastors, based on the things that they expect from these big donors, when they donate for in church, they go see this outcome. When say the court don't vindicate, this guy don't bail himself with 10 billion naira, they'll see the situation as a testimony, miracle, and the pastor will say, this is the handwork of God. Now I began to wonder, what is really the problem in this oil sector? Why is there no this? So I decided to dive small. So I want to tell you what I have dived into, or what I think happens to be the problem in the oil sector. That the oil sector is beyond what we are just saying. That the problem in the oil sector is way beyond what we are saying. Welcome to the Testament Podcast.
Instead it be sleep, let it be hate, let it degrade, let it be deep. Some others should weep, some others should keep the memory of the way that I died. Maybe.
So today on the Testament Podcast, I said I've done a shadow dive into what is really the problem in the oil sector. So I just want to relate today what the problems are, to let you understand that this is beyond what we see. Now, first of all, what you have to do now, subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms, connect with us, relate with us, drop your stuff on the comment section and I will react with it. Drop whatever idea and anything you want, just lay it out and we'll talk about it. Okay, let's go. Then I began to dive into it, like asking myself the question is, when was oil discovered? Because we need to go back to really trace and know where this problem is materializing from. And oil was discovered in the late 30s, and 1965 Nigeria began 1950, late 1958, late 50s Nigeria began exporting of crude oil. Then also 1965 Nigeria commissioned the first refinery. So like, why from then problem they always the day we see the happen, what is really the cause of the situation in Nigeria? And the truth is, what is really the cause is, no one will say every Nigerian who are participating in the corruption in the oil sector are just puppet. The factor or the problem of this oil sector, which I'm not sure with the way it be, with the findings when I don't see, I'm not sure say that's something when we feel just really solve. Because come to think of it, oil was discovered in the late 30s. First shipment was done before we were independent. And they can't give us independence at a time when they discover something that will give them gold, that will give them funds, that will give them a lot of funds. in natural resources, why would our colonial master just not be war happen, nothing happen, they just carry independence, give us like that, when they discover, they never really enjoy the beauty, the benefit of what they don't discover, like what is behind it. Then I began to dive in, and I discovered that the problem in the oil sector, the benefactors are the colonial masters. Our colonial masters are the benefactors. They are the one that created the bureaucracy, which is a system to control Africa and Nigeria, to control every country they've given independence to. That despite I've given you independence, you still depend on me, and I've created different factors. I've created a lot of things to make you always be my puppet. So I'm going to state it fast, but this is what I want to do first. Malta is a country in the Mediterranean Sea, and very small country. And Malta was known before they joined the EU in 2004 as a country of tourism. In short, their greatest export in Malta is tourism. Before they joined the EU in 2004, and they began using the euro in 2008. Then you begin to wonder, because the European Union have criteria. They have criteria and standard of the kind of country when they want to make it join the EU. Because not be every European country is signed for the EU. Because some of them never meet up with the criteria when the EU don't set. The EU set a lot of criteria, things that you need to do, how your economy needs to be, how strong your policies need to align with the EU ideology, plans and programs and everything before they can join them. Because EU do not want, the European Union happens to be a very small continent, but when it gets great influence. Small continent in terms of size, small continent in terms of population also. So, but they get big influence. So that big influence don't make them feel they control every other countries. So what criteria did Malta meant that gave them the license to become an EU country? Because if you check from history, why all these refineries, when not they work, who they benefit? Because if you know they work, you get people who don't benefit. It means the crude oil production or the crude oil they pass through back corner to the black market, and for the black market, you go get people when they buy high prices and people when they buy low prices. And from findings and from investigation, this when I watch in China's news when they did an investigation into local refineries in the south, and from the findings they discovered that pipelines there where they don't construct join the main pipeline. And when vessels they come into the country, they can't carry crude oils. Now you begin to wonder, how is this vessels able to come into Nigeria waters? And all the vessels, even the ones that they got finding, that got the ones that they caught, squad that they get all the documentation when they can enter Nigeria water. How all these things be? If you trace out, discover that those oils were being sold in Europe and in America. It means they were countries who were benefiting for the failure of Nigeria to put their refinery in shape. So you get people in the benefit. But that by the wayside, let's go back to Malta. Let me tell you the important role Malta played, and so that we'll get a backstory about why our refinery the fail. So Malta is a very small country, very, very small country. In terms of land size, Malta can be compared to a state like Plateau State in terms of land size. That's how small Malta is. Then in terms of population, in 2022, the population in Ikeja in Lagos was 470,000. In 2023, the population in Malta was 540,000. So you see some similarities they get. It means they be the same thing. It means the population, if you check the population, the status right now in Ikeja, you describe that it's same with Malta in terms of growth. Even if you be say Ikeja population don't pass Malta. But Malta don't get crude oil. Malta don't get refinery. But what we say Malta, they play very major role in terms of oil exploration, especially through the Mediterranean Sea. Now, and you can't go back to ask yourself, how is it possible that Malta, a small country with a land size that is as small as Plateau State, with a population of less than 1 million, is able to meet up with the criteria set by the EU and EU allowed Malta to join them in 2004. In 2008, Malta began to use the EU. You know, because the EU, this is what they do. Even if you do not have anything you are bringing to the table, there should be something that they are going to use you for that will be of benefit to the union, because the idea is to make the EU, one of the main ideas or the program of the EU is to make the EU a strong body, to make the EU powerful, to make the EU currency valuable, to make the economy sustainable. So these are the programs or the idea behind every other ideas in the EU. So there's a plan, there's a programs, there are things when they don't strategize on how they they run business with every country when they run business with, and where they go accept losses, and where they need to get excess gain to cover up with the losses where they go get from any place. And Africa happens to be the destination for the EU to be able to emerge wealth for themselves by one way trying to choke us, not choking us indirectly. We are still under our colonial masters. So let me go back to Malta. Now, what can do so special for Malta? Can they find out? Can they go and say Malta is special because of the way it's strategically located? A small island. Sure, Malta is supposed to be among Africa country, but I don't know why they put that. I don't know why they joined the EU. So it's very close to the I think the northern part of Africa. There's a very close to it, an island, a very small island, and also because of how strategic it is located, I believe that is one of the reasons why EU allowed Malta to be part of the European Union. And also the second thing I think why they accepted Malta to be into the European Union is it could be used for a way to generate money for the European Union. I believe these are just hypotheses, so I'm not saying this really are this. I not really dive into this length. Now, Malta. Let's talk about Malta. Okay, I said earlier that Malta, firstly, was known before joining the EU as a tourist destination. In short, their greatest export was tourism, but after they joined EU, the EU began to strategize. I believe before now they already strategized on what they will use Malta to achieve, and that is what they used Malta to achieve. Malta, all of a sudden, began to receive a percentage of control in the export business of petroleum products. Now, let me give you some statistics. In 2023, the export of Malta, because their major export right now is oil, petroleum products. They don't refine, they don't get any refinery, they don't have any oil. But I will tell you other things that they have. So in 2023, Malta export rose to 3.8 billion. 37% of Malta export is crude. Now export is 3.8 billion. Import of the crude product is $1.90 billion. Then they made a profit of 1.80 something billion. Now, how is this possible? How is Malta to enjoy gains from petroleum products when we say they don't have refinery, one, and two, they don't have crude oil? So how? So this is what the European made Malta to be. Malta became what? A transshipment hub. They're like playing a middleman. Me saying they go get like storage facility, cargo companies, or people. When we say as you drive in from Europe to the supply to maybe Africa, you stop for there, you'll do refueling, you go relax for there before you come to Africa. So like a junction. They use Malta as a junction. So Malta became a transship hub. And two, they also use since Malta is a transship hub, where ship they can rest small before they go to their destination. If you me say there need to be a storage plants in such places, because sometimes some people will say, I want to go drop for there, you carry your own ship, can't collect from where I drop, or those kind of things. Okay, I go take care of the transport to this point, you take care of the transport from this point to this point. So it means there's a storage facilities. And another thing that Malta is known for is what they call blending terminals. There are blending terminals in Malta, many blending terminals. In short, let me give you another story before I forget. Under Malta, after Malta joined Europe in 2014, companies begin to come into Malta when they go into cargo, storage facility, and transshipment stuff, and also terminals, and blending terminals. Now, if you look down Malta in that 2023, if you also decide to look at Malta exports in that 2023, as in people in Malta they trade with, Malta trades with Malta trade with South Korea, Italy, Russia, Turkey, and UK. So they don't have any business with any African country. I don't think they do any business with any African country where they get products from. They mostly get most of their products in Asia and in Europe. Now, but how is Malta be able to play such massive role to be able to control stuff when they happen for the oil industry? So now, in 2023 also, remember I said earlier that 37% of Malta exports is crude. And in 2023 also, Nigeria do business dealings, business transaction with Malta oil destination as a business destination of petroleum products coming from Malta to Nigeria was $2.24 billion. And also they were sending some petroleum products to Tunisia, but very slow or minimal significant percentage, also to Singapore. But the large bulk, the major destination of petroleum products when they come into Nigeria, they come in through Malta. Now let's talk about a transship hub. A transship hub, as Malta say, it was strategic positions because of how they want to make that country fit the economically stable and also the profitable for the EU at the long run. So these blending terminals, what do they do? Blending terminals are not refineries. Blending terminals do not refine products. But what they do is, like when they go buy refined products from countries, and these refined products for countries, when they go buy from these countries, they go carry and come probably a low quality product of petroleum products. They'll buy them, they'll come add other stuff to it, to take blend them, to take make them like say it gets more originality, to make them look like say it get resemblance or similarities with the original one. So blending, they'll come blend and make it blend with the matter, you understand? And what they do mostly, if you check from their export and their import trading, you discover that most of the oil that comes to Malta, the refined product that comes to Malta, comes from Russia and from Europe. If it comes from Russia and for Europe. And also there was a time that I think one news one time fly for Nigeria say the products when they come from Russia, or the oils when they come from Russia, or petroleum products come from Russia, are very bad. But the thing is, because after refinery, in refined process, production comes out in different qualities. So the lowest, and every country gets quality. Now the lowest quality, now they enter blending terminals. It is blending terminals to blend something to make it look like the original. So that means what they need to blend, then every one of them needs to be in their low capacity. It cannot be original, because now when it cannot be original, if it is original, you don't need a blending terminal. And just simple stuff, you don't need a blending terminal. Since it is not original, you bring it to the blending terminal and mix all the things where you need to mix them, then you export them. That is what this blending terminal is. And also I call it okay. So that means the EU set up the Malta to act as a terminal to take products to Nigeria. Because if you can't look at me, Nigeria produce, sell to Europe and to US. Because if you check all the countries, no countries they do blended terminal. Or the only places when these petroleum products they go from Malta, they go to Nigeria, and a few percentage they go into Singapore and one after other African country. No product of their product they go to Europe. None of their product they go to Europe, but Europe will supply them refined petroleum. But none of product that comes out from Malta goes to Europe, goes to the US, or goes to South America or North America. All now Africa they come from, especially Nigeria. Now the funny thing is, everyone when involved for these proceedings, when they cause this chaos, from involving themselves with these colonial masters, and you've allowed these colonial masters to also use through the bureaucracy, the system where they don't set up, structurized already for Nigeria, to still enslave us, because this thing is slave trade, and still slave. Because during the slave trade, when they come initially, they came with goodies. Our leaders, our ancestors made the mistake to trust them, believing that, felt that, okay, these people that came with these goodies like us, no, say they won't use them, and that is what happened. They sowed the seed of greed among us. They sowed the seed of hatred among us. We begin to place value on things that have no value on, and we begin to sell our brothers and sisters to the community. Now this same thing now they happen, because these people that are engaged in these dealings, no, they consider that people are dying and people are suffering in the country. You just the concern of the billions of dollars when you they make from transactions you they do. What do you want to do with all the billions of dollars? The colonial masters is also always in control of us one way or the other. The colonial master is always one of them. Then I come to ask my question, okay. Because in 2021, let's say I forget it, 2021, under Buhari administration, $1.something billion when they keep for the rehabilitation of the refineries. They not see any trace of this money to date. Nobody know where this money enter. Nobody know the thing was not done. Nobody know what happened to the money. I believe the reason why this MDs, because I began to ask myself a lot of questions in trying to find out what is really behind the failure of the oil sector. Is I think the reason why they are arrested, because they're not going to do anything. If they do anything, those people go speak, and if they speak, they go call names, and if they call names, the names now be people win their positions and some business owners. So they not go want me, they call their names. So after a while, they go leave them. But I just feel that the reason why they were arrested is the Tinubu administration is trying to create name for themselves like the only administration that has been able to revamp this refinery, and this refinery is working. But come be like say their plan not can work and they make them the verse. But there's nothing they are going to do for too long, because everyone they involved for the corruption practice at its own level. Everybody gets where they play. Because if you go look at this owner of these terminals, because I try to look for the owners of this terminal to see who are the owner of these blending terminals, who are the owners of this storage tank, who are the facilities, who are the owners of this transship hubs, this transship company, this transshipment company, who are the owners of all of this. I try to find out names of the owners of this thing. If you can't find out, there's one very funny thing about these people who keep on doing this. Like, if you try to find the owner of a company to know who are the owners or the shareholders, it will take you to a group of company owned by a group of people, Like, if you break it down to the minute, you always see the place it will take you to. Not that you cannot get the refer to, just that it will take you a long time is you can't get to a circle of, say, there are individuals who put money together to establish a business, and these individuals decide to stay anonymous, and this is their business name, and with this business name they were able to invest into this, that this, invest into this, that kind of formulation that they get. But not that if someone really wants to go into deep dive, say you know go figure the information. But this one are just information based on shallow dive when I do, and I felt that Nigerians need to know what is really happening, because there are a lot of things that are happening behind the scene. There are a lot of things when they happen. You just need to say, see, there's nothing that happens in Nigeria that does not benefit the few. The reason why potholes dey for the road, you get people when they benefit. The reason why you don't get lights, you get people when they benefit. The reason why anything that happen to you as a result of you being in Nigeria, they happen to you now because it get people when they benefit. They are business elites. There are people who have interest. There are people who need you to suffer for them to grow. There are people who want you to remain where you are for them to remain where they are. And they don't mind doing anything they need to do to keep you where you are.